Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to review the 2018 Netflix movie Cargo that stars Martin Freeman, and this is another zombie film. Obviously the market is completely saturated these days, both in movies and gaming, in regards to the zombie genre. I've just recently reviewed The Cured, which is another zombie film that gave something new to the genre. And I've been quite looking forward to watching Cargo after seeing the trailer several months ago. And this film is set in Australia, and it stars Martin Freeman, who at the beginning of the movie you see is living on this raft, almost like a huge boat raft thing on the rivers in Australia, with his wife and his baby daughter Rosie. And at this point the zombie apocalypse has taken place, and there's people running about eating people, and we get, even though you don't see that, you get some discussions and you get some kind of idea what's going on, and basically they're living on this raft to stay as safe as they can. Unfortunately, however, early on in the movie, the wife is bitten. Now it makes it clear quite early on in the movie that you've got 48 hours basically when you're first bitten before you turn, and you see all these medical boxes lying around, and they've got all these kits in to take your own life, spikes through the head, and they've got this timer bracelet you can put on your press, and it gives you 48 hours. And once the wife is bitten, initially Martin Freeman's main priority is to try and get his wife help, because he thinks there might still be a chance to save her, even though he doesn't want to admit it that there isn't. Fortunately, it doesn't turn out the way he wants, and he's left on his own with his baby daughter. But unfortunately, he has been bitten too at this point. So he knows he's got 48 hours, he puts on his bracelet, he's got 48 hours basically to save his daughter's life before he turns. So this kind of then turns into him crossing the Australian outback, trying to look desperately for places, safe havens that he can leave his daughter in safe hands, etc. And it would seem that everywhere he turns, if there is dead ends or bad people, or it's just not working out and he's running out of time. And his only real chance is a young Aborigine girl called Toomey, I believe she's called, who is very, very clever, and very loyal, and a very lovely girl, and they end up putting their trust in each other in the hope that they can find somewhere safe for everybody. And that's the gist of the story. I don't want to get into any spoilers, so that's kind of what this movie is heading for and what it's about. Now, for me, again, I think a lot of people, as with The Cured that I reviewed recently, if you're used to high octane, full blown adrenaline zombie movies, where there's limbs ripped off left, right and centre, and blood and gore and hordes of zombies charging around everywhere, you're going to be disappointed with this movie, because you don't get that in this movie. You get a more realistic approach to it. Don't forget, this is Australia, the outback, it's massive, so there is actually not that many zombies in this movie. The pacing, some people again will have issues with, because it is very slow paced. It's not high adrenaline, high octane stuff here. But what this has going for it is a truly wonderful central performance by Martin Freeman, and I really do mean that. He's such a natural actor. It just feels comfortable in any role that he does, and his role here, playing a devoted father trying to do best for his daughter, at times is quite beautiful. His performance and his relationship with his baby daughter, to the point where I don't mind admitting I shed more than one tear in this movie. The little Aborigine girl who he befriends in the movie, who I believe it's her first movie, I might be wrong, but I think it is, does absolutely wonderfully as well. And so what the strength of this movie are the performances. The way it's written is really, really nicely done. and the emotional kick at the end is very palpable. And like I say, it definitely, if you don't get emotional at the end of this movie, then you know there's something wrong, I think, because it really does hammer it home. I think it does a wonderful job, and it looks beautiful. It really is filmed in such a way that it's got this beautiful sheen to it during the day, and the cinematography is pretty outstanding. So it's a sight to behold as well at times, this movie. So it has an awful lot going for it. And unfortunately, the tag of zombie movie will potentially bring in the wrong kind of viewers to this movie. And like I say, if you're going to go into this movie thinking you're going to get something like The Walking Dead, you're going to be disappointed, because you don't get anything like that. Don't get me wrong, there are zombies in this movie. There are a decent amount of them. The threat is very real. But most of the threats, quite a lot of the times, come from within or from one particular human character. So, yeah, I have to say, I really quite enjoyed this movie. I thought it was different enough to have its own space in the genre. Really well made, really well acted. Lovely performances, and I really believe the relationship between Martin Freeman and his baby daughter. There's one scene in particular where there's like a father-daughter bonding moment near the end that crushed me. You know, as a father, it was deeply emotional, I felt. So yeah, the very, very good movie, very, very enjoyable movie that I think some people will have some problems with because of the pacing issues and the lack of horror. It's not traditionally horror movie as you might expect. It's more of a thriller drama with horror elements thrown in there. But I do recommend it. I do highly recommend it. I really enjoyed this movie. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, guys. Definitely worth seeing. There's a lot of high quality here. And if you like to see zombie movies that offer something a little bit different, then I think there's stuff here for you guys to enjoy. So thank you for watching.